What's up, everybody? Here, just wanted to jump back into my post-awakening story. This would be the second video, part 2 of this story of me recapping and going back over my spiritual awakening from then until now, because as I mentioned before in the first video, I feel like a lot of people really leave out the middle story and the progress, and since so many people were always asking me for updates on it, I decided to make this series. So to pick back up where we left off, so I end up having this spiritual awakening in May of 2017. And pretty much what happened after this, of course, I started having all these anxiety and panic attacks and so many other things, and just not feeling like inside my body. My mind was in a million and one places, and instead of kind of taking the route of the doctors and looking to put me on some sort of medication or something like that, I took the route and tried to approach this from a spiritual sense, from a psychological sense, in the fact that I started to look for other solutions. And so the next part of this story is me getting into meditation, how I found meditation and how it's kind of benefited me. And so initially, right after the awakening, of course at this time the whole idea of meditating was still kind of new. You know, the only app that they had was an app called Headspace. And so I ended up getting curious to see what this whole meditation thing was really all about. And so from there I ended up getting on Headspace, using the 1 week free trial, and just meditating every single day. Just starting out with like 5, 10 to 15 minutes of meditation. And at first I was kind of like, okay, I mean, it does give me a time to kind of relax. I had a lot of things going on at that time. I was a senior in college and just going through all my capstone classes and things like that. It did give me a bit of time to myself. And I really started to really, I guess, fall in love with the feeling that I felt after meditating, whether if it was like for 5 or 15 minutes. It was definitely giving me a peace of stillness, a piece of calm, a peace of mind, for me to better maneuver throughout my day and to maneuver this awakening and dealing with this new version of myself that was questioning a lot of things, questioning on exactly the direction in which my life was heading at the time. Now, like I said, I was in college, and so you can imagine I was living in off-campus student housing, and as you can imagine, all the things that can go on in some of those houses, a lot of noise and stuff like that. But my room had like a walk-in closet, and I remember I set up like this little, I wouldn't call it a shrine, but just this little area, meditation area inside my closet. You know, I had these small little candles, and of course I had my headphones and stuff like that, because I was listening to the Headspace guided meditations and so forth. And so I really began to fall deeper into this meditation thing, and it was actually giving me, you know, what I was needing, just a piece of time for myself to really think and feel things through. And so after this awakening, I began to be more open to things that I think was beneficial to me in my own discovery journey and my progress through this awakening. And so with that being said, I kind of had an omen. I remember it was Father's Day, and my father graduated from UNC Chapel Hill, also known as Carolina, here in North Carolina. And me and my brother took him to eat for Father's Day on campus. And after we were done, I walked him and my brother back to their car, and then I walked back to my car to go back to the other direction, back to campus, because I went to UNC Greensboro, which is about 45 minutes the opposite direction of where they were headed. And when I was walking, I saw a flyer on a light pole about a yogi coming somewhere near the UNC campus, and they were going to do like meditation and all this thing like that, and I always was looking for further insight into just the commercialized form of meditation that you get on Headspace, and it was just an opportunity to meet a person from a different culture, a different spiritual practice, and really figure out what those things were really about. So I ended up going, and actually, in fact, I have the flyer somewhere, the original flyer somewhere around here, but I couldn't find it. But I only have this here of the guy. His name was Sri Shiva Bala Yogi, and I actually done a video on this experience about meeting him, and I'll post that somewhere, I'll link it in the description somewhere. But going for that experience during that time, it was all very much new to me. Of course, I was the only black person there, which those sort of things never really bothered me. I just took it all full in stride. And I remember this heavy-set guy with a long white beard walking in, and people just seemed to really admire and respect this individual. And I'm just kind of there as an observer, right? And then we went into this meditation practice where we were required to meditate for an entire hour. And this was the first time that I had meditated for that long. Up until then, I probably only meditated max 15 minutes. So I was really curious to see how I was going to be able to meditate for an entire hour. And these people, they came around and they put this this ash or powder. I don't know if you can see that, but they put this ash and powder on my forehead. And they told me to meditate and to focus all my attention here. And one of the things that I realized while meditating for an hour is that I really feel like meditating for an hour is the real ideal time for proper meditation, because I realized within the first 15 minutes of the meditation, your mind is going everywhere like a squirrel. I mean, a million thoughts a minute. And then the next 15 minutes, it kind of slows down a little bit. You maybe have a thought every 5 seconds. And then as you go into the third 15 minutes of it, your thoughts really begin to dissipate, and you get a little bit more quietness, and you can more observant. You start hearing all the noises and the humming of the electricity of the room. You become more present in the moment. And then the last 15 minutes, you're somewhere in between like sleeping and being awake, and you're just very present in the moment. And it's really hard to explain. And every time when I'm going through a lot, and I'm like, man, let me go for the at least 30 minutes to an hour of meditation. That's kind of that sweet spot that I'm looking to get to, where I kind of feel asleep, but yet I'm still awake and conscious, but I'm just present, and my mind is just still, because when I come out of those states, it's usually very euphoric. And then through this, afterwards, you actually got an opportunity to speak to Sri Shiva Bala Yogi. And of course, I asked him some generic questions. Being a senior in college, I asked him kind of what should I do with my life and these sort of things. And he gave me this very general, vague answer. And in fact, I don't think I ever shared this with you all on the other video where I specifically was talking about this experience. But he gave me kind of a general answer. And the key thing about these answers, when you ask those sort of big time questions about purpose and meaning in life, usually people give you back vague answers because it gives you room to read in between the lines. Because you never really want somebody to give you an all-out answer, because what happens is they'll end up projecting their values onto you. And you might find yourself doing what they told you to do, and it doesn't really resonate with you. So it gave me a little opportunity to begin to think. And also I said, you know, how do you deal with anxiety and depression and these sort of things and emotions? And he told me to just write them down on a piece of paper. And I've done this twice actually, and it was very beneficial. And I'm gonna share it with you guys. You write all your anger, your thoughts, your depressions of anxiety, and all those things like that on a piece of paper. And when you're done, you rip it out, and then you burn it. And I'm not even gonna lie, I felt very good. I've done that twice. Life has forced me 2 times to do that, and it was very beneficial. And then to go on after that, as I said, this awakening was beginning to open me up. So after the event was over, I stuck around and hung out and talked to some of these people, and some of them were some real hippies. I mean, you could tell, you could smell it, you know what I'm saying? And there was a guy there that was an amputee. He was telling me his story and all the things that he's done, even though he's missing a leg. And it was just really opened me up. And another thing too, being that I was the only black person there, they made sure I felt welcome. You know, they were asking me about myself. They were excited to see me there. And then they told me that they were actually having a similar event in a separate location a week or two later, and I ended up going. And I actually took a friend with me, and the same sort of process. And then when I got to meet him again, he remembered me and he laughed. And this guy, he doesn't really speak English. He has his wife there to help translate. And I asked him another question, you know, how do I share this gift of meditation with other people? And he told me, you know, don't hide your meditation, just meditate in front of them, and they'll get interested, and so forth. And I've shared meditation with some of my friends, and some of them, they stuck with it, some of them did it. But all in all, to kind of begin to wrap this up, of this phase of the journey of me getting into meditation, it really provided me with everything that I was going to need for the next part of this story, and the next part of this journey, and the next part of this awakening. Because one thing about this awakening is after I had it, so many other things began to fall in line in place, which made me just really shift my entire everything, the way I thought, the way I saw the world, the way I saw myself. And I would say that meditation gave me a opportunity to really figure out a way to anchor myself. And I know there's tons of forms of meditation out there, but one thing I always try to achieve through meditation, and I've tried different, and I'm still trying different forms of meditation, but one thing is just sitting there. Sometimes it's with binaural beats. Sometimes it's with no music, and I have maybe my windows open and I can hear the birds and everything going on outside. But it gives me an opportunity to be observant of my thoughts, and deepen my emotional intelligence. And I know a lot of times, and this is kind of the last thing that I want to say, I know a lot of times between the religious world and the spiritual world, and I've seen a post similar to this, talking about this on, I think it was Instagram, where they were saying, you know, like people are replacing God with the universe, and people are replacing prayer with meditation. And one thing, I think they go hand in hand, to be honest with you, prayer and meditation. Prayer is an opportunity for you to speak and let God, the universe, or as I like to call it, a divine universal spirit, you know, hear, you know, what you have to say. And meditation is an opportunity for you to listen. You know, it gives you an opportunity to listen and feel how you're feeling. You know, sometimes I'll start meditating and I realize, like, man, I'm feeling really anxious, or I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling happy, or I'm feeling joyous. But without meditation, it doesn't give me that time to really observe those thoughts and those feelings and adjust my life accordingly, so I can continue to go after the things that I want in life. And so I wanted to share this piece with you, because I know a lot of people, some people still have mixed feelings about meditation, can't really get into it. And there's people who have found meditation and it's been the world to them. And so all in all, meditation was giving me an opportunity and something to really anchor myself for the next part of this story. And so once again, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this series. And so as always, like, share, subscribe, and comment. I want to hear how meditation has helped you, or how you found meditation, or even the frustrations that you've had with meditation. I'd love to hear from you guys. So once again, peace.